Hi everyone, it's Nicole and I'm here with the last video to get caught up on my mini album. So this is the month of October. In October I read 7 books, which sounds like a lot, but by October 15th I had 0 books read. So I read 7 books from the 15th of October to the 31st of October. So I'm kind of glad that I got as much as I did read because I'm always 1 book or 2 books behind on my Goodreads list. Now, this time around, it went super fast because I did them, I did August, September, October almost back to back to back. So I had everything out already. I had done all my little cups with the numbers. And every time I start a new month, the only thing that I did different was I went and got a new Project Life box. So someone asked me where I got all my Project Life box. I've had those forever and I did get them a number of places, especially Michael's. I'd use a 50% coupon on those, or there's a few times that we went to the States and we would go to Hobby Lobby and they would have them on for like $15 US. So I would get like 3 or 4 collections at a time when we were in the States. I don't even know if they make those anymore. So you'd have to look to see if they're still available. So one thing I do is I take all the cards and then I try to match up the cover of the book with some cards. And right away I glue them down. And then I just start embellishing. I always put my 5-star rating and then I take one of my distress markers and I just put in what my rating was. The first book I read in October was Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. And this is a book series. I heard that there might be a 3rd book. I don't know. So it was supposed to be a duology. There might be a 3rd book. Who knows? But you still followed Victor and Eli and how, they were trying to be superheroes, but something kind of went wrong and they're like super villains and they were like best friends and now they are the worst enemies. So the stickers that I used on that was super because they're like superheroes or super villains, and then I used the word friends because they were friends. I gave this book a 4.5 stars. There was quite a few characters introduced into this story, so it took me a little bit of time to kind of get into the story because there was just so many new characters, but I still enjoyed it. The second book I read is Sea Witch Rising by Sarah Henning. This is the second book in this Sea Witch duology, and this one was a Little Mermaid retelling. And I love retellings. I am a sucker for retellings. I absolutely love them. And this one, I really liked how she did the twist for the character that should be Ursula. Really loved it. I gave it a 4-star. I was super excited when I saw that this was even a thing because I didn't know there was a second book and I bought it right away and read it. The next book I read was probably my favorite of the month. It's called The Flat Chair by Beth O'Leary. And oh man, I love that. It is about 2 characters. One is called Tiffy, the other one is Leon, and he's looking for someone to share his flat. That's why it's called a flat share. And he works nights, so this person could have the flat from 9 to 5, or he has the flat from 9 to 5 because he worked nights, and then the other person has it overnight and on the weekends. And it's all about them and how they communicate through like little notes that they'll leave each other around the apartment. But there's so much more to that story. There's actually 3 stories within this story. And I really like how the author did that and really fleshed out each and every one of the stories within that one book. 5 stars, absolutely loved it. The next book I read was, I didn't do it in order because I'm doing Right Swipe right now, but this was actually book 79. And this is by Alicia Ray, and this is a book. It's an adult contemporary about Ree and Samson. Ree owns a dating app and is interested in purchasing a competitor app, and the person that they have as their spokesperson is this guy that she kind of swiped on her app, and they had this amazing night, but then he ghosted her. And it's their story. I absolutely loved it. I gave it 4 stars. Now, the next book I read is The Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan. And again, this is part of the Percy Jackson world. This is book 3, because I'm reading book 4 right now. And I have to say, this is probably my favorite book up to date. Like, when you see the star rating, I put 4, but it's actually like a 4.25. I really am invested in the characters, and in this one, Percy has to save Annabeth. You know, even though this is a middle grade series, I'm really enjoying it. I'm really loving reading each of the books. I plan on finishing the series this year and then start the next Rick Riordan series in the new year. The next book I read was K.A. Tucker, Say You Still Love Me. This is an adult contemporary about Piper and Kyle. It's a dual timeline. It's when they first met, when they were teenagers. They were both at this camp. They were both counselors at a camp, and how their relationship kind of came together. And now they're adults and they meet up again, and she's trying to figure out why he acts like he doesn't know who she is when she looks at him like he was like her first love and one of her only true love. I gave this book 4 stars. I didn't enjoy it as much as A Simple Wild, but I still enjoyed it, and it won't be my last K.A. Tucker book for sure. Now, the last book I read in the month of October was Permanent Record by Mary H.K. Chow. This is a young adult contemporary about Pablo and Liana, who is a superstar. She walks into the bodega where he works, and they kind of strike up a friendship, a relationship. They start dating, but it's also about him and figuring out what he needs to do with his life. And I gave it 3.75 stars. I probably would have gave it a lower rating if the end wasn't the way it was. I found that it was realistic, and that's what I like. But it was cute. It was a good story. I enjoyed it. And there's another book that I have from her, Emergency Contact. So I'm going to make sure to read that for sure in the new year. So I'm just going to take my album and add all the books in the order that I read them. I am so glad that I am caught up, because I have the type of personality that if I don't do something at a specific time, it just won't get done. So I'm trying to stay on track with this album and make sure that I get it done within the year, because if it rolls over into the next year, it just won't get done. So that's it. That's going to complete the month of October. And I want to thank you so much for watching. Bye.